What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Nwadei MMA. Today we're going to be breaking down maybe the most awkward style in MMA today. A lot of people think that this fighter just sucks, but obviously he can't suck if he is a world champion, right? And yes, we're talking about Dricus Du Plessis, coming off of a recent win over Israel Adesanya, the style bender himself. And a lot of people have a lot of questions about his style and if it's effective, or maybe he looks sloppy sometimes, or they don't really quite understand what he's doing. So today I'm going to do my best to break it down. And I'm going to break it down in a few phases. The first phase I'm going to talk about is the fact that Dricus is a switch hitter. Now, keep in mind, he's been grappling since he's been about 4 years old. He started wrestling and judo at a young age, going into all kinds of sports growing up and things like that. But I think that's just important to talk about first because of his style and how he likes to close the distance. But the first phase of his style, because he's a switch hitter, is the 3 different types of switches he likes to do, right? So oftentimes you'll see Dricus just switching right in front of his opponents, and a lot of times people and coaches will tell you not to do this because it squares you up. A lot of times it leaves your feet parallel, and it's not really the best defensively. Like, if you have joined any boxing school, they'll tell you to stay in one stance the whole time, right? Or any kickboxing gym, learn one stance first, and then later on, once you have experience, you can mix things up, right? Same thing here, but in order to describe his style, there's 3 key switches that he does, right? So the first one is what you just saw a moment ago, is he takes his lead leg, steps back, and constantly is switching like this, right? And this is not only to switch stance and doing this for defensive purposes, but a lot of times likes to throw kicks off of this, and it hides his kicks well, which we'll go into in the second half of this video. But another switch he likes to do, partially this is for defense because he likes to use a high guard, is he'll just switch back, right? Almost like those little footwork drills that you see, right? You see people doing footwork drills like this. This is so that he backs up quickly and effectively, but he can also, like you saw before, check any kicks coming his way, right? This is part of the reason why he has trouble circling out until his back hits the cage, but this is also why he can use that high guard so effective. And the third way Dricus likes to switch, we talked about the minor switching, right? We talked about the defensive switching, but he also uses his strikes and the threat of his strikes in order to switch as well, right? We actually saw this a little bit from Israel Adesanya, his last opponent, back in the day, right? Where he would throw push kicks, right? He would fake a push kick in order to switch. Dricus does the same thing, to where a lot of times he likes going southpaw and he throws these big kicks off the back leg, and then eventually his opponent hates getting these ran into his elbows or his guard or his stomach, and they back up, which allows him to just switch back to his stance and start off any other sort of combination, right? So again, 3 major switches. It's a minor switch that he uses. He uses the defensive switch and switching off of his strikes. Boom, right? Boom. Wow. Okay. So now that we have talked about his stance switches, let's go ahead and get into the first layer and first phase of Dricus Du Plessis' striking style. Now, again, we know he has the grappler background. However, his striking, yes, it is what you would say awkward, but it's only because we're not used to it yet, right? And as is first with any striking style, his first layer is defense, right? Prioritizing not only defense, but also his setups, right? He's not a very defensive fighter, so to speak, like an Israel Adesanya, to where he's constantly moving backwards. He likes his forward pressure. He doesn't have the best defense moving backwards, partially because of his style, but also because of his mindset, always looking for the finish and things like that. So he likes to come forward, and part of the way he's able to do that is by making his opponents hesitate. And some of the setups he likes to use is as he's using this minor switch, right? He likes going southpaw a lot. He'll go minor switch, but part of the reason why he's doing this is actually to hide his leg kicks, right? He uses this minor switch a lot for leg kicks, boom, switch, kick with the lead leg, but also for high kicks. So he'll minor switch, and then he'll whip it up there really fast. We saw this against Israel Adesanya. Everyone was so amazed at how fast his high kick was, but it's because Izzy reacted late. So again, he's here. He can use this side and snap it up, right? Bring it back and use low kicks like that. But again, it's all off of this minor switch, right? Or a quick switch, right? Another thing he likes to do for his setups, he's here, right? He's switching, but he's not just switching to set up his kicks. Every time he switches, this person now has to download a new style. They have to think about what he's gonna do, right? Because now my right hand is my power side. So it changes up the targets, changes up the defenses, and makes people hesitate or predetermine their own attacks. We saw this in the Robert Whittaker fights where he's going orthodox to orthodox, right? Robert's orthodox. And he makes this switch, and he's done this a couple times already, so Robert's planning for it. He switches, and because people don't recommend this, right, he tries to attack right away off the blitz, and he comes right over the jab. From southpaw, it's a very strong and hard jab. He doesn't really pop it to get in very much. Even from orthodox, he doesn't really pop it. He uses a lot of lead hooks. But what I will say is his right jab is very powerful because of this method that he uses, boom, to really step into it and put his body weight behind it. So that's the first layer of his style, his defense, and what he likes to set up just as an entry level into the fight, right? Part of what I was talking about earlier is it also helps him to be defensive, keeping this high guard, right? He's constantly throwing these switches and things like that. If someone blitzes towards him, go ahead, boom, he's here, ready for the kicks, and then he can circle out at the end. But until then, if say they blitz again, he might use one of the switches to again step in to a jab. Right, so he's constantly thinking about the attack even when defending as well. Phase two begins his offense, right? This is the second layer to his kickboxing style. Like we said before, right? He likes to set up these kicks off of these switches, right? He'll pop it up. He may just use it for a quick low kick, but phase two is mainly short combinations, and he likes to use his kicks, throwing big left roundhouse kicks from southpaw and stuff like that in order to set up his hands. And this is something that makes Dricus seem a lot longer than he really is. He's constantly chasing people because they're running away from his kick. He might use this to switch and then come over the top with something, right? So one of the setups that he likes to use, say he'll be southpaw to orthodox, right? And he's using these minor switches. They don't really know what he's gonna do. He uses a switch to a low kick, come back, but off of the low kick, boom, you'll see him throw a left hook over the top and maybe even a right hand, depending on how close they are. Another thing this allows him to do is it closes the distance so fast that if they're not backing up, he could just go ahead and enter into the clinch as well, right? Because of his very extensive background in grappling, this works very well for his style. So again, he has the low kick, he can use it off the high kick and come back with the other hand. You see this a lot in Kyokushin karate. And then another way he sets up his hands with his kicks, he might use a Superman punch, or again, throws the back leg, they start backing up, and then he could come with the back side. That's that second switch that we talked about, or third switch we talked about earlier. And then another tricky one that he likes to do a lot of the times is when they start not respecting this kick, right? Maybe they're standing in to block it. Maybe they even want to catch this leg, right? Southpaw orthodox, the top getting hit in the liver. He also likes to just pick it up as he's switching stances, pick it up and throw his hook or a jab off of it, right? It's very similar to how he uses this minor switch to come with the jab, except this time he's using the kick and hiding the punch, right? This will also help to start off some of his blitzes, boom, boom, or takedown entries. Right, so again, very tricky, very clusterfuck of a style, but it works. And these are some of the reasons why they work. Moving into phase 3. So I think one of the first things to talk about when we talk about this third layer is this layer is blitzing style, right? This is what everyone kind of critiques him on, because it seems like he's leaving his chin up in the air, or he's falling over his feet, or maybe making the fight sloppy or something like that. Blitzing has been around since the fucking dawn of time. Since karate got popular, people have learned how to blitz, right? Now, he doesn't do it traditionally. Traditionally, you see a lot of blitzes like this, right? When they're like running at you, and it's just a straight blast blitz trying to come through your guard. You see it a lot in JKD, you see it in karate, and they're taught going straight. Now, people who have boxing backgrounds or kickboxing backgrounds, if he does it to me, they've learned to angle out, right? And then come and counter. And that's what we all expected like Israel Adesanya to do, right? But there's a couple things he does that are different than traditional blitzes that make this effective. And one of those things is the timing at which he does these blitzes. He's always trying to do it when you least expect it, right? The number one rule of fighting, catch opponents by surprise. And this could be when they're off balance, like Israel Adesanya, he tried to do it off of like low kicks. So if Izzy threw a low kick, he may either catch it or he may just time it and come in afterwards. If he throws an outside low kick, he may just sit in on it and then use it to get after him, because Izzy will be on one leg, or the person kicking is on one leg. You could close that distance really fast. Another thing he'll try and do is, say they're moving around, right? He'll circle, he'll keep using his stance switches, getting you to back up. Maybe he'll use some kicks until your back's against the cage, and then he'll blitz you, right? Catch you by surprise. Maybe you're not able to circle out that quick, and then you run into the cage and need a couple punches, or end up in a grappling situation, right? And him closing the distance that fast is what supplements his grappling, right? And then now we come to the way that he likes to do these blitzes. He doesn't just straight blast and come forward like you've seen in karate back in the day. However, what he will do is he'll start straight and finish round, right? And what I mean by this is, say I'm in the same stance, right? I'm starting straight. I might go cross, jab, cross, but as he's circling out and trying to find that angle to try and catch me, I'm going around and almost fading off to the side, right? Little weird, little tricky, but again, you're blitzing against someone who's trying to move laterally. Their back's against the cage. So boom, 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 and then he catches them right off the edge, right? If they decide to stay in there, right? Okay, I'm blitzing, they stay in. Okay, now I'm in the grappling. Or they stay in there, right? Boom, 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 boom. Now they're just taking my punches without being able to really apply much offense of their own, right? So again, if I'm just doing it on air, it's straight punches, 1, 2, 1. As they circle out left or right, you're catching them and then you follow, right? So again, straight punches, catch, and follow. And guys, if you want more details on this, I'll be more than happy to post something later with a lot more details and maybe teaching you guys his style. This is more of a quick, rough breakdown, so hopefully you like it. But because he does this blitz like this, going from straight to round, it makes it very difficult to try and counter. Like, go ahead and try and counter, right? We're just gonna go slow. So I'm doing this straight blitz, right? He has to worry about getting his head off the center line. And as he's circling out, trying to find that angle to counter, I'm coming wide. DDP has a lot of power in his hands. He has a lot of thud behind his punches, as everyone has said in the past. Even if he tries to circle off this way, right? Straight blasting, boom, and then it comes over the top. He can follow that with takedowns, and it can get muddy. A lot of people are getting off balance when he's doing this, and this is why the fights look the way they look. Hopefully I did a good job of explaining that. Hopefully after this video, maybe you go and check some history about Kyokushin karate or any of these stance switching ideologies. Is that even right? Ideologies, stance switching, or ideas, and you could see for yourself. But thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, please leave it down below in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to get more videos like this one. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.